Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you another of my misunderstood movie reviews. Today, I'm taking a look at the 2010 action horror Legion. The film is co-written and directed by Scott Stewart, and it stars Paul Bettany, Dennis Quaid, Charles S. Dutton, Lucas Black, Tyrese Gibson, Adrian Palicki, and Kevin Durand. Right, okay. Now, the film focuses on, essentially, the end of the world, an apocalypse. God's very unhappy, and he can't be bothered to send a flood this time, so he decides to unleash an army of angels on the world. However, there's hope for mankind. There is a waitress at a diner out in the desert called Charlie, who's 8 months pregnant, and that baby is the hope for mankind going forward. Paul Bettany plays Michael, one of God's favourite sons. He defies God, comes to Earth, gets rid of his wings, and decides to head out to the diner to help Charlie and everybody within that diner fight off the hordes, the legions of angels who are hell-bent on destroying the world. Right. What are my thoughts on Legion? Well, I've always had a soft spot for this film. I know it wasn't particularly well received. It didn't particularly do very well box office wise, but that's why I'm doing a misunderstood movie review for it. This is where I kind of shine the spotlight on films that I enjoy and feel they probably deserve to do a little bit better than they did. Now, I'm not here to tell you that I think this is a classic or anything, but I've always had like a soft spot for like movies like this. And I think it's why I like the TV show Supernatural. You know, you've got all this heaven and hell, you know, battling it out sort of thing, and with us in the middle sort of thing. And it's got a similar theme to that, this film, like, you know, the Supernatural TV show. And I've always liked it. I think this film balances the action and the horror aspects really, really well. There's some very memorable scenes in this film. The scene with the little old granny in the diner is just fantastic. It's forever watchable. You know, I always enjoy that scene, that whole sequence when she turns up, this little old dear, and absolutely turns into this horrific demony thing. It's just great. I love watching it. The Doug Jones as the ice cream man is really, really cool. You know, there's some memorable stuff that happen here in this film that creep you out a little bit. It doesn't necessarily fully deliver on that, and what I mean by that is I think by the end of the film it kind of leans much more heavily into the action side of stuff, and it loses its way a little bit. The whole battle between Michael and Gabriel is a little bit of a letdown. You know, what seemed to be like this huge threat at the beginning of all these people outside the diner. Well, they're not people. I want to say demons, but they're not. They're actually angels that are possessing these people, even though they're behaving like demons. You know, it's quite freaky stuff. Some of the stuff that you see. And that's my favourite part of the film, like the whole bit in the diner with the little old deer turning up, and then Paul Bettany's character turns up, and then they get, you know, the whole diner gets descended upon by these weird things, you know, the ice cream man, and then you've got that kid that they think they need to rescue, but they don't. The whole idea of, you know, some of them getting taken out slowly within the diner, you know, getting tricked to go out there and then getting taken out, and you know, the whole siege mentality thing. That's my favourite part of the film. And then it kind of deviates into, you know, a quite generic, I suppose, action film by the end, and it loses its identity a little bit, in my opinion, but it's still entertaining and fun to watch. I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think they turned this into a TV show. Was the TV show called Legion or Dominion or something like that? I never watched it, For me, you know, I never liked this film enough to like want to go and watch a TV show that's based off this. And I don't even know if the TV show is a follow on from the movie or like a retelling of the movie altogether. I don't really know. Maybe you guys, if you've seen the TV show, tell me what it's like in the comments. Is it worth a watch? I just like this film, and I think it's got some strong casting in it as well. I think Paul Bettany does a great job as Michael. This was the phase in his career, Paul Bettany, where he was experimenting with being like an action lead. He did this, and then he did that. Was it Priest, the vampire thing, that I quite enjoyed as well. They kind of came out very, very similar time. Might have even been the same year, I'm not sure. And I enjoyed them both. That's actually another bit of a guilty pleasure for me, that film Priest. And this film can kind of be put in the category of a guilty pleasure. You know, it's well made. You know, it's got creepy moments in it. It's got some quite memorable characters in it. You know, and a good cast, a very memorable cast. Like I say, you got Paul Bettany, Dennis Quaid. Always been a big fan of Dennis Quaid. He's very rarely not great in anything that he does. He's always fabulous, in my opinion. Charles S. Dutton, massively reliable. And then obviously you've got Kevin Durand, who's always underrated, in my opinion. He's always entertaining to watch. The only character I wasn't really keen on here was Tyrese Gibson's character, Kyle Williams. I'm not a fan of Tyrese Gibson. Every time I see him in anything, he's the worst thing in the film. I just don't have a lot of time for his acting ability. I just don't think it's very, very good. And the Lucas Black character, Jeep Hansen, had a lot of potential, but I just don't think they fleshed it out enough, his character. So it's got its shortcomings. Like I say, I'm not here to say that I think this is an unmissable film and you have to watch it. It's just a masterpiece. I can understand the shortcomings. You know, it is fairly shallow, you know, for the most part. And, you know, that kind of stuff I get. But for me, I like films like this that are not afraid to kind of entertain and just to be that, just be an entertaining film. They're not trying to, you know, be anything overly special or anything like that. They just kind of want you to have a good time with their film and enjoy it and enjoy the premise of it. And I've always found that. I've always liked films, if you like, as well. You know, like I said, the siege mentality thing. Where you're introduced to characters and you slowly lose them one at a time, and you've got that connection to them by that point. And this film does that, you know, because practically everybody that you meet in this film at some point or other, you're going to lose them. Some of them you're not that fussed about, but others you're like, I like that character. I don't want to lose them. And I think Paul Bettany does a decent job here as like the action lead here, as this, you know, fallen angel Michael, who's trying to protect the baby. It's the future of mankind. I mean, it's great stuff, really. So if you've never seen Legion, I do recommend you try it, guys. I would be interested to hear what your thoughts are in the comments. If you've never seen it before, go and give it a watch, come back. If you think it's utter garbage, tell me you think it's that. Do you think it was actually quite a lot of fun? Tell me that as well. So I always love to hear your thoughts and comments, guys. So join me back on the channel for plenty more reviews and content very, very soon.